Hey, what's going on, guys? It's JayEllyiot here, and welcome back to another video. All right, so in this video, I'm just going to do a quick overview of the new kit that has been released in BeatMaker 3 Sound Store in collaboration with MSX Sound Design, and the kit is called the On Deck Pack. So some of you probably already know that INTUA collaborated with MSX Sound Design a few years ago and released two kits in the BeatMaker 3 Sound Store, and those two kits are super dope. But this kit is even crazier. So let's go have a look at it. All right, so what we have over here is the kit, and the first thing is the artwork, and then we got different folders here, which is the on deck instruments, kits, samples, and demos. So the first folder I'm going to go through is the kits. So inside this folder is all the drum kits within the pack, and there's about 7 different drum kits that you can use. So if we go ahead and click on Bro Jackson kit, each kit will have a session file and also the bank file and the sample folder with all the samples that are contained within that kit. So I'm gonna just go ahead and open the session. So within the session, they have an example of a beat that was made just using this kit. So inside each kit, you have a set of 5 patterns. So let's go through these patterns. So the first one's the beat. And then the sample from the beat. And the other sample that was played within the beat. And a hi-hat loop. So one of the cool things about the kit is that some of the sounds are live stretched. And the good thing about that is that no matter what tempo I play this beat, it's always going to stay on beat. And also all the kits come equipped with 8 macros. So let's go ahead and play with some of these macros. And if you didn't want to load the session, you could just load the bank by itself. So let's go check out maybe another 2 banks. Let's check out Fielder Kit. We'll open up the session and let's check out the beat. And once again, it comes with 5 different patterns, and it also comes equipped with 8 different macros. And let's just quickly go through the sounds. And as you can see, each pad has some different colors here, but each color represents a sound. So we have our kicks, which is green, and then purple, which are like your snares and claps, and the blue, which is like your hi-hats. This color over here, which is all your sample chops. Then you got your purple over here for your bass sounds, and then your pink for your percussion sounds, and etc. All right, so let's go check out one more kit, and let's try out the Perk Pack kit. Load up a session. So all the sounds here are different percussion sounds and percussion loops. But you can also just load them onto the sequencer by using some of the patterns that are located in the pattern section here. So now that you have an idea of what some of the kits sound like, let's go through some of the instruments. So as you can see here, we have 11 different instruments, and same thing as the kits. If we click on one of the instruments, it'll have a session, and then it'll also have the bank, which you could just load on its own, and then the samples that are contained within that bank. So let's go ahead and load the session. So within the session, we have a chord progression here that was created with the sounds from the kit. So let's go ahead and play that. And it also comes equipped with 8 different macros. And these macros are slightly different compared to the ones from the drum kits. So let's go ahead and play with these macros. And I'll just go ahead and play with it on the keys. I like that. It's kind of like a lo-fi piano sound. All right, so let's go through 2 more instruments. Let's check out the Rode Toad, which I'm assuming is kind of like the Rhodes. So let's go ahead and play the chord progression that they have here. Again, they got the macros. So now I'll play with it on the keys. And I like how this sounds. It kind of has like a lo-fi piano-ish vibe to it. Because when you play the keys, you could kind of hear the vinyl crackle layered on top of the keys. So that's definitely dope, especially if you're into kind of lo-fi beats and all that. Oh, and you know what? Let's check out one more instrument because this is actually pretty cool. So this one's called 808s. So let's load that. So the cool thing about this instrument is that each pad is a different 808 bass sample. So as you heard, those are some pretty bumpin' 808s. So all you gotta do is just tap on an 808 sound that you like. So I'll just select this one. And then once you go into keys mode, or if you have an external MIDI controller hooked up to your iPad, then you can just start playing that single bass sound across all the keys. Yeah, that sounds pretty fat. And then obviously you can tweak it to kind of fit your playing style. So right now it's on one shot. So I'm going to put it on hold instead of one shot. And then I'll probably put the release down a little bit and then move the attack a little bit up. Now with those adjustments, let's hear what it sounds like. And you know what? Let's just play with another one. Yeah, these 808 sounds are definitely bumping, man. These sound crazy. All right, so moving along now, let's go check out the samples. So as you can see within this folder, you have 16 different samples. So just like the other kits, in each folder, you'll have a session, and then you'll have a bank, and then the sample folder. And as you can see with each folder, it'll say the sample number, and it'll also tell you the BPM of the sample and what key it's in. And if you want to preview the sample, all you got to do is go to the selected sample folder and then go into the samples folder and you can preview the sample. So if we go back and open the session, same thing like the other kits, it'll have a pattern within the session, which is basically the loop of the sample. And it's just the one pattern here. So let's go ahead and play the sample. And yeah, that is a dope sample. That is a dope sample for sure. And once again, it comes equipped with 8 different macros. And these macros are slightly different compared to the other ones. So the cool thing about the sample kits is that within all the banks, all the samples are already chopped. For example, if you already have like a drum beat going on in the background and you wanted to lay down a sample on top of the drum beat, you could just easily load up one of these sample kits and start playing around with the chops on top of your drum beat. So another cool thing about the sample kits is that all the samples within the bank are live stretched. So as you can see here within the sample editor, the BPM is already entered and live stretch is on. So when you have the correct BPM entered and then once you turn on live stretch, no matter what tempo you play the beat or the sample, it's always going to play on beat no matter what. So if I adjust the tempo or even if I adjust the tune macro, it's always going to play on beat. So just to give you an example of what I'm talking about, I'm going to play the sample loop, and while it's playing, I'm also going to adjust the tempo and play around with the tune macro so that you can see that no matter what, it's always going to play on beat. So another cool thing that I wanted to mention about this sample pack is that all of the drum kits within this pack are all live stretched as well. And what's really interesting about that is that it kind of opens up the door for you to mess around with all the different drum kits and all the different patterns within the drum kits and kind of mix and match them with different sample kits and maybe different samples from different drum kits. And because they're live stretched, they're always going to be on beat no matter what. So you can literally just drag and drop different patterns within your session and it's always going to be on beat. So right now I'm just going to give you a quick example of a beat that I made following those methods. So as you can see here within the session, I have the Bro Jackson kit, Sample 7, and the Perk Pack kit. So I'm just going to play the beat and then I'll quickly break it down. All right, so that's the beat, and let's move this all over and let's reconstruct the beat. All right, so for the Bro Jackson kit, in the pattern section, I used the Bro Jackson drum loop, and I just drag and drop that over there. So let's go ahead and give that a listen. And with this drum loop, it originally had a hi-hat loop in it, and it sounded like this. But I just muted it because I added another hi-hat, which I'll show you afterwards. So with this drum loop, at the end of the fourth bar, there's a little turnaround there, and I didn't want that to happen every 4 bars. So what I did was just repeat this, and then I shortened the drum loop and just repeated the first 2 bars of the drum loop. So now the turnaround comes around at the end of 8 bars. So then after that, because I took out the hi-hat from the original drum loop, I added another hi-hat loop from the Perk Pack kit. And within the pattern section, I just added percussion loop number 1. So let's go ahead and let's just solo it and hear it on its own. And as you heard, at the end of every second bar, there's kind of a little turnaround. So what I did was just repeat this, and let's delete that. And then I shortened the loop and just repeated that up until there. So now the turnaround for the hi-hat loop comes at the end of every 8 bars. So let's play these two together now, but I'll start it over here. So you heard the turnaround come at the end of 8 bars for both the hi-hat and the drum loop. So let's just play that real quick. So after that, I added sample number 7, which is 88 BPM, and the project tempo is at 78.50. And because the tempos aren't too far apart, it's not going to make a drastic change. So let's go ahead and just drop that loop in there, and it should be all good. So the only other adjustment I made within this beat was with the sample, and all I did was adjust the tune macro to 30%. So this is what it sounds like at its original tempo. Now let's bring it back down. And it's really cool to be able to play around with the tune macro live on the fly because of the live stretch. And you can pretty much give your beat a totally different vibe / sound because of the pitch / tune macro. So you see how easy that was to mix and match different patterns from different kits because of the live stretch capabilities within BeatMaker 3. And the algorithm for the live stretch within BeatMaker 3 is actually really good. So now that you saw how easy it was for me to just put together this beat, let's go ahead and bring in some different samples and different drums and kind of play around with it a bit and see what kind of different beats we can make on the fly. So I think first I will just mute the sample and let's bring in another sample. So maybe let's bring in sample number 8, which is 65 BPM, and it's not too far off from the project tempo. And you know what? We won't even preview the sample. Let's just load the bank and load the pattern. And let's literally just drop the pattern right into the sequencer. And let's repeat that. And you know what? It's probably going to be a little bit loud, so I'll just bring this down a little bit. And then I will also adjust it on the fly. And that already actually sounds pretty good already. I think what I'll do is I'll adjust the tune macro on the fly when the beat is playing. And yeah, you see how easy that was to just introduce another sample into the mix. And if I wanted to adjust the tempo, I could adjust the tempo. Now I think maybe let's introduce some different drums. So let's mute the Bro Jackson kit and let's mute the perk pack kit, which is the hi-hats. Let's create a new bank and let's go to the drum kits and maybe let's try the wizard kit. Oops. All right, let's load this bank. Okay, so within the patterns, there is a wizard drum loop. So let's just go ahead and drop that in and let's repeat it. And let's hear what this sounds like. And damn, yeah, that actually sounds pretty dope, man. I think I actually like it better with these drums than the drums that I had previously for sample number 8. And let's just kind of play around with it a little bit. Like the wizard kit, I think there's a little loop, like there's like a bongo loop here. Let's see what it sounds like. So maybe let's mute that. And then I know in the Bro Jackson kit, there is a hi-hat loop. So what I'll do is I'll just delete that, bring in the hi-hat loop, and let's repeat it. All right, so let's hear what this combination sounds like. Yeah, that sounds pretty dope, man. It sounds pretty dope too. And you know what, let's just mute these hi-hats and let's hear what it sounds like with the perk pack hi-hats. And yeah, they all sound pretty dope, man. Like all of these different hi-hat loops. I guess it would just be a matter of preference and taste of which hi-hat you would want to add to the beat. But to my ears, they all sound pretty good. All right, so let's mute this sample, and we'll keep these hi-hats. And I know within the wizard kit that there is a sample loop. So let's bring in this sample loop, and I'll also repeat it. And it's probably going to be loud, so I'm just going to turn it down a little bit. Then I'll adjust it on the fly. And all right, let's hear what this sounds like. And man, that actually sounds really dope too, with this combination of different patterns and sounds. And another thing I want to mention is that you don't have to use specifically what's inside these patterns. Like you can use the pattern as kind of like a sketch. And then if you really wanted to, you can go in and make your own changes to the pattern if you wanted to. So you could take out some things or you can add some things, whatever that you want to do basically. So you're not limited to just what's in the pattern. Like you can still alter it and make it your own and give it your own vibe, your own sound or whatever. So you still have that option to do that. Like you're not just limited to the patterns. The patterns are really fun to play around with, to get some ideas going, to get some sketches going. And maybe you don't even want to alter anything. Maybe you just kind of like the way it sounds as it is. And that's totally fine too. But, it just goes to show the amount of different things you can do within the kit because of that live stretch feature, and being able to adjust the tempo and adjust the pitch of the sample without having to worry about everything being off beat, because no matter what, everything will be on beat. You still have the option to load the raw sounds and the raw samples and totally customize it the way you want. And man, the possibilities are endless. Like you saw what I just did with all the different patterns and sounds from the different kits. So, I mean, you can go crazy, man. You could come up with a lot of different ideas just playing around with like how I played around with it. All right, so lastly, I'm going to play you one more beat that I made using sounds from the sound pack, but this time I didn't use any of the patterns within the kit. I basically just created my own beat and my own patterns. So as you can see here, I used a variety of different sounds from all of the different kits within the pack. All right, so let's go ahead and play this beat, but I will play it a little bit different so you could hear all the different layers as the beat's playing, but I'll leave these two unmuted. So let's start here, and let's start off with the drums. So I'm obviously not going to go through every single sound and every single kit. If you guys do decide to purchase the kit, I still want it to be a bit of a surprise for you guys when you're going through the kit and discovering the sounds for yourself and all that. But this is basically just a quick rundown and overview of what the pack has to offer. Now, I only went through a couple banks within each folder, so you can only imagine all of the other sounds and patterns and all of the other kits that I haven't even touched and gone through yet. So what do I think of this kit? Man, I think it's super dope. Compared to the first two kits that they released with INTUA, those two are obviously super dope, but this one is totally on a different level, and there's just a lot more sounds that you can play around with, and a lot more functionality within the kit as well too, with the live stretch, all the patterns and all the macros and all that. Would I recommend this kit? Absolutely, 100%. If you are a BeatMaker 3 user, it's absolutely a no-brainer to pick up this kit. Like, you would definitely need this in your arsenal if you are a BeatMaker 3 user. All right, so once again, you could check out this kit in the BeatMaker 3 Sound Store called the On Deck Pack by MSX Sound Design. As you guys already know, MSX Sound Design has a great reputation for having amazing sounds and samples, so you definitely do not want to miss this one, especially if you are a BeatMaker 3 user. All right, y'all, that about wraps it up for this one. Thanks for watching, thanks for tuning in, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.